I'll be reading from my book, Traveling Our Road. This is a picture book that I wrote in memory of my late husband, Dave, who was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's disease in 1996. He passed away in 2007 after 11 years of this extraordinarily challenging disorder. Presenting my program during the month of November has special meaning. Not only is it the anniversary of Dave's passing, it's also National Alzheimer's and National Caregivers Awareness Month. Plus, it's Thanksgiving, and I know I have a lot to be thankful for, and I'm wishing you all a happy Thanksgiving as well. People often ask me about my writing. How did I go from professional writing as a speech-language pathologist to creative nonfiction? Why do I use animal protagonists, and why the pen name Dylan Weiss? Well, like every writer, there's a story behind my story, and it all began a year before Dave's death, when my grandson Joey, who was 2 at the time, was afraid of his grandpa. Here is what happened. It was Thanksgiving of 2006. The whole family was watching the Ohio State-Michigan football game, a traditional. I have to say, go Buckeyes. Dave was seated in his Jerry chair with Joey on the floor in front of him. It appeared to me that Dave pointed to Joey and mumbled something like, "Come here." I was absolutely stunned because Dave hadn't spoken for over a year. I asked my sons, "Did you hear that?" They said, "What?" I said, "Dave just said, come here." And they said, "Mom, you're imagining things." But with an expertise in geriatric communication, I knew differently. When I tried putting Joey on Dave's lap, he pulled away, saying, "No, scary." Seeing Joey afraid of his grandpa just broke my heart. I was determined to find a way for Joey to connect with his grandpa Dave. That night, after I read a Winnie the Pooh story, and here was part of the story that I read a Winnie the Pooh story to Joey, who had padded downstairs in his PJs to say goodnight. Dave was already tucked into bed. That's when I had an aha moment. I said, "Hey, Joey, you know what? Grandpa Dave lost his walking and his talking, just like Eeyore lost his tail. Their outer smiles are gone and they look so sad. But if you kiss Grandpa Dave, you'll bring back his inner smile." So Joey threw Dave a kiss, and then I said, "See, it worked. You made Grandpa Dave feel better." And then Joey grinned and said, "Better." When I realized Joey had never seen Dave any other way but sick, I decided to write him a storybook about his grandpa, using pictures of Dave doing fun things before the Alzheimer's, paired along with illustrations of Winnie the Pooh characters doing similar activities. I wrote the book, I called it Dave's Tale, and then I gave it to him for Christmas, and then here it is again. I gave it to him for Christmas, and as they sat side by side listening to me read that story, the book became a bridge, drawing them close together. It eliminated Joey's fear. Many months after writing Dave's Tale for my grandson, I was contacted by a colleague, Merritt Moore, who is editor of the ASHA Leader, that's my national organization, American Speech Language Hearing Association. She called and she said, "Hey Gail, have you done any new programs since the award-winning article you wrote 5 years ago?" And I said, "You mean side by side, traveling the road and sharing the load of Alzheimer's?" "Yep, that's the one," she said. It had been an article explaining a new communication strategy I had developed for Dave. Told Merritt about Dave's Tale, and then she asked me to submit it to the leader, and I said, "Of course I will." So in 2007, we had Still Traveling the Road published. Shortly after this article was published, I was contacted by another colleague by the name of Dr. Michelle Bourgeois, who was heading up the ASHA convention call for papers, and she asked me to present a communication program on dementia and include Dave's Tale. However, a few months before the convention, I was told I couldn't use Disney images in my presentation due to strict copyright laws. Our conversation went something like this. I said, "Okay, Michelle, I won't include Dave's Tale," on which she said, "No, it's really important, you have to." I said, "Well, what do you want me to do?" She said, "Quick, write another children's story that you can substitute other animals for the ones in Winnie the Pooh. Quick, write a children's story." So I asked myself, if I were an animal like Eeyore, who had lost his tail, what animal would I be? And that is how Sebastian Skunk was born. And the other characters followed over years of research, trial and error, eventually appearing in Skunk Tales trilogy. The characters in these books, there were two books, Norton's Tale and Sebastian's Tale. Took two books to gather these many characters. They took on lives of their own, and they actually became my imaginary friends, helping me to cope with the grief during the last stage of Dave's illness, as well as giving me a new purpose after he passed away. So it started out as a short story for Joey, transformed into complex environmental allegories of over 350 pages with 20 characters spanning multiple themes and messages for readers of all ages. Thus, I finally had other animals to substitute for those in Dave's Tale. I chose 7 of the characters from those books to write Dave's Tale as a picture book for children. So after 15 years, Dave's Tale morphed into the Traveling Our Road book, which I had showed you at the beginning. It morphed into this book. And Traveling Our Road is a story about 2 characters, Dylan and DJ, who together face the challenges of early onset Alzheimer's disease. Rich in symbolism, the book invites children to consider how they might communicate with an impaired loved one, thus reducing their anxiety as well as the anxiety of an adult who is accompanying a child to go visit somebody with a dementia or just an ill grandparent. As you listen to Traveling Our Road, imagine yourself as a young child visiting that sick loved one, feeling anxious or scared. See if you can pick up on any of the verbal or visual symbols that illustrate their journey together. With the holidays approaching, I suggest Traveling Our Road as a great gift. Purchases of this book, as well as those in Skunk Tales trilogy, can be made via Amazon or discounted directly from me. A percentage of profits will be donated to environmental causes and or research to find a prevention or cure for early onset Alzheimer's disease. To learn more, please visit me on my website at www.author, Dylan, Dylan, Weiss, WEISS.com. Thanks so much.